Espresso is where almost every coffee drink begins. It's made by pushing hot water through tightly packed, finely ground coffee at very high pressure. This makes a small, strong shot with a soft golden layer on top, called crema. The word espresso comes from Italy, and it basically means forced out, which makes sense since the water is forced through the grounds under pressure. A good espresso depends on a few things: how fine the coffee is ground, how hot the water is, how much pressure is used, and how skilled the person making it is. A latte is espresso with a large amount of steamed milk poured in, topped with just a thin layer of foam. The milk calms down the strong, bitter taste of the espresso, which is why so many people who find plain coffee too harsh enjoy lattes instead. The word comes from Italy too, where café latte simply means coffee and milk. Most lattes use 1 shot of espresso mixed with 3 or 4 times as much milk, making it a very gentle coffee drink. The pretty designs you sometimes see poured into the foam, called latte art, became popular in the coffee shops of the US Pacific Northwest in the 1980s, and then spread everywhere. An Americano is just espresso with hot water added to it, which makes it weaker and lighter. It looks and tastes a bit like regular drip coffee, but has its own character, because it starts from espresso instead of being brewed slowly. One popular story says the drink got its name from American soldiers in Italy during World War II, who thought Italian espresso was too strong and started watering it down to something closer to what they were used to back home. Even diluted, it keeps a lot of the deep flavor of espresso. Affogato is actually a dessert, not a regular drink. It's a scoop of vanilla ice cream with a hot shot of espresso poured right over the top. The name means drowned in Italian, describing how the ice cream starts melting into the coffee. It's often eaten in Italy at the end of a meal instead of a separate dessert and coffee. Some versions swap in chocolate or hazelnut ice cream instead of vanilla, and some places add a splash of a liqueur for an extra kick. Turkish coffee is one of the oldest ways people have brewed coffee, and it's still made the same way today in many countries. The coffee is ground almost as fine as powder, then simmered together with water, and often sugar, in a small metal pot. It's never strained, so the grounds settle at the bottom of the cup, and you're supposed to stop drinking before you get down to them. This method goes all the way back to the Ottoman Empire hundreds of years ago, and some of the very first coffee houses in the world opened in Istanbul. Some people even look at the leftover grounds in the cup afterward and try to read shapes in them for fun, similar to reading tea leaves. Vietnamese egg coffee came from a moment of creative problem-solving. It was invented in Hanoi in the 1940s, at a time when regular milk was hard to find. A hotel worker whipped egg yolks together with sugar and sweetened condensed milk to make a rich, creamy topping instead of using milk, then spooned it over strong coffee. The result tastes almost like a coffee-flavored custard, and a lot of people compare it to drinking a dessert. It became so popular that the person who invented it opened his own coffee shop, which is still around today. Cold brew is coffee that's never touched by hot water at all. Instead, coffee grounds sit in cold water for a long time, usually somewhere between half a day and a full day, allowing the flavor to slowly seep out. Because there's no heat involved, fewer bitter and sour flavors get pulled out of the beans, so the coffee ends up tasting naturally smooth and slightly sweet, even with no sugar added. It's important to know that cold brew is not the same thing as iced coffee, which is just regular hot coffee poured over ice cubes. Cold brew started becoming a big trend in coffee shops in the mid-2010s and quickly spread around the world. It also lasts much longer in the fridge than regular brewed coffee. Nitro cold brew takes regular cold brew and pushes nitrogen gas into it before serving, the same way a certain type of beer is served. Because nitrogen bubbles are so much tinier than the bubbles in a carbonated drink, the coffee comes out feeling thick, creamy, and smooth, with a foamy top, even though there's no milk or cream in it at all. A major coffee chain introduced this to a wide audience in the mid-2010s, and it caught on fast. Interestingly, the nitrogen actually makes the coffee taste a little sweeter than it normally would, even though nothing sweet was added. It's usually served without ice, so it doesn't become watered down. Café de Olla. Café de Olla means coffee from the pot, a traditional Mexican brewing method. Coffee grounds are simmered in a clay pot with cinnamon and piloncillo, an unrefined brown sugar with a deep molasses flavor. The clay pot adds a subtle earthy taste. It's a common morning drink in Mexico, especially popular during Day of the Dead and Christmas. Gibraltar. Cortado. Gibraltar, also known as a cortado, is espresso with just enough steamed milk to soften the acidity, usually about equal parts of each. It sits between an espresso and a latte, so you can still taste the coffee clearly. The name comes from the small glass it's traditionally served in. Bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee is brewed coffee blended with grass-fed butter and MCT oil, a fat from coconut oil. It was popularized around 2011 after its creator tried yak butter tea in Tibet. It became popular with people following keto or low-carb diets, who say it gives long-lasting energy, though critics point out it replaces real food with fat. Greek Frappe. The Greek Frappe is a cold, foamy iced coffee made from instant coffee, water, and sometimes sugar, shaken until foamy and then poured over ice. It was invented by accident in 1957 when a coffee company representative couldn't find hot water and mixed instant coffee with cold water in a shaker instead. It quickly became Greece's signature coffee drink. Café Cubano. Café Cubano is a small, very sweet espresso shot from Cuba. What makes it different is a thick, sugary foam on top called espuma, made by whipping the first drops of espresso with sugar before the rest of the shot is poured in. It's strong, sweet, and popular in Miami's Little Havana. Dalgona Coffee. Dalgona Coffee is a whipped coffee drink that went viral worldwide in early 2020. Equal parts instant coffee, sugar, and hot water are whipped into a thick, fluffy foam, then spooned over cold milk. The name comes from a Korean candy with a similar look. A South Korean actor helped popularize it on TV, and it spread quickly on social media. Similar drinks had already existed for years in India, Pakistan, and Libya.